Hello and welcome to this discussion in the Wire. And today we are hours away from the election results. And as the exit poll showed, the BJP may be in for a third term. Mr. Modi may be in for a third term. In this regard, we are here. We're joined by Dr. Yogendra Yadav, renowned political scientist and a former psychologist who had constantly intervened in the way the campaign kind of was unfolded during the elections, and he was also kind of speculating and predicting on the basis of his ground reports that the BJP might as well end up finishing between 240 and 260 seats, but the exit polls indicate in the different direction. So, Dr. Yadav, thank you for joining us. And so my first question would naturally be, were you surprised by the exit polls, especially Access My India and CSDS? CSDS also kind of put out one of its analysis to this morning, where it is on the lines of what Access My India is also projecting.
I was indeed surprised by the exit polls that came on television the day before. And I was not planning to comment on that because as you know, I've been intervening in the debates. I've been saying that BJP is going to lose majority. And I thought it's not my job to comment on exit polls. The idea would be to comment on the results. But the manner in which the whole thing is being whipped up now, I thought I must at least put my view across. CSDS is a different thing altogether. I will not yet give comment on that because I will wait for their state-wise figures to come, which is where the real thing is. So they have not made any forecast of the statewide things. What they have said is somewhat different from what they had said 4 or 5 days ago. But that's not because they've not made any seat forecast. So I would not get into that. What surprised me about the polls, first of all, I think we should note, because I've been doing exit polls and so on. What is an exit poll? You know, when people are exiting the polling booth, someone on the road outside the school catches them and says, who did you vote for? That's what is exit poll done on that very day on the premises. Tends to be relatively accurate, more accurate than pre-poll surveys. But in our own country, the record has been rather uneven, which includes some of the polls that I may have done. In more than one election, if you remember, I remember 2004, almost all the polls saw Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee coming back with a clear majority. Nothing of that kind happened. 2009, almost everyone, and I include myself as one of those guilty, had underestimated the victory of the Congress. That Congress was coming, UPA was coming back to power. Almost everyone systematically underestimated that. So there is no sacrosanct thing about exit polls having said it, therefore it's going to happen. No, there's no such thing in this country. What surprised me about these polls was their unanimity. Usually when different exit polls come up with their projections, because they have done field work in different conditions, they tend to vary, come up with surprises. Someone says this state will go this way, someone else says no, it will go that way, etc. What I found surprising was that almost everyone's final figures are almost identical. I mean, within 10-20 range.
Yes.
And it almost seemed that in one or two surveys, they had gone out of their way to stretch the forecast to, cover 400, 400 par. So Access My India says up to 401. I've done polling. I know these are estimates that you provide. Whether, when a pollster goes out of his way to include one critical figure within his range, you are alerted. Why is that effort being made? So there was that. I was surprised, of course, because it was not quite in conformity with the ground experience that I had, myself experienced. So many people have been reporting. What the poll seems to be saying is that in BJP's dominance areas, it would more or less retain the dominance it has in 2019. Now, that simply does not conform to what everyone has seen and noticed on the ground. So it was out of sync with the experienced stuff. But all this is not enough to discredit any exit poll, because polls do come up with surprises. Polls do go against your commonsensical expectations. And I have personally been at the receiving end of people saying, "Are aisa kuch nahi tha, tumne kyun bol diya?" And then the results come and you say, "All right, take a look at what the results are." So these things do happen. But because I found the trends were so different, I started looking for alternative polls. Because in addition to the polls that you have seen on the television screens, there are alternative set of polls. Some of them are state specific. For Kerala, there is a poll done by VMR. There is a poll, a projection done by IDINA for Karnataka. There is another similar poll for Tamil Nadu. There are, then someone has done poll for 4 states. Parthadas, he's put it in the public domain. There is one poll for 8 constituencies of Maharashtra done by one Mr. Giri. So I looked at all these things. I also reviewed 2 or 3 nationwide polls which have been done, which are not in the public domain, because many people do not do it for the purpose of forecasting. They are doing serious research. And these polls are, I had an opportunity to review that. They may not wish to make it public. And it's for them to choose where, as and when they want to make it public. But the funny thing is that almost none of the things that I mentioned to you is in conformity with the polls that have been shown on television screen.
Take care. Take
care. The India Today poll says 27% to the BJP, just 2 points behind the LDF. Now, anyone who
that
knows
was
Kerala,
quite surprising, yes.
That's right. So, but the other poll says no, maybe 18, 19. All the other polls that I have seen are in the range of 17, 18, 19, 20. Punjab, the poll says 26% to the BJP. All other polls that I've seen are putting it in the range of 18%, 19%, or something like that. Karnataka is a very strange case where the India Today exit poll says 54%, 55% to BJP and JDS. And mind you, half the election was post Prajaravana scan. And 41% to Congress. So 14% lead to the BJP. Other polls that I had an opportunity to view are saying it's Congress which is in the lead. I mean, so polls do have different estimates, but not this big. Odisha, they are suggesting 18 percentage point lead to the BJP over the BJD and a complete wipeout. Bengal, something like 30 seats to the BJP. And Uttar Pradesh is a place where I had an opportunity to, incidentally, for Odisha, all other polls also show BJP in the lead, but not this kind of lead. Bengal, there are differing estimates. There are many polls that are saying, no, it's actually the TMC which is in the lead. And for Uttar Pradesh, the state where I had an opportunity to travel, see, look at various polls and so on, it seems to say that they have a 10% advantage. Last figures I saw put NDA with an advantage of 10% or so, which is to say, they are suggesting that BJP hasn't come down from where it was in 2019 in Uttar Pradesh. That's an unbelievable claim. Yes. So that's why I would only say, I'm not saying they are wrong. I'm not saying my estimates are right. And incidentally, whether my estimates are right or wrong is one of the most trivial questions. The important
so, but yes, please.
That there are many things which are very odd. Take it with a pinch of salt. Wait for the actual results. Do not assume that what the exit polls have said is the truth.
Yes, of course, sir. The results, actual results, are only hours away now. But so, what I was like curious about about the hypothesis that especially Access My India poll made, which was that Congress, they showed the Congress Plus or the India Alliance, as we know, was gaining quite drastically from the last time, but not at the cost of BJP, but at the cost of others, what we call others, other parties like PSP or YSRCP, or like kind of trying to show that there's no space for others in this bipolar polity. So, do you and while the BJP also seems to benefit at very minutely though, but at the cost of others. So, does that, like, while in the ground we may see perhaps like there's a question that many of us are kind of asking, is on the ground we see a consolidation of opposition sentiment or the anti-incumbency sentiment, but it still may not be kind of uh, big enough, or the scale of which may not be big enough to dislodge the BJP, which is perhaps kind of starting at a much higher level, given the
This
how
may well
the
be the
29.
case. This may well be the case, Ajoy, and it's at this stage we don't need to speculate. It's only a few hours away, and yes, it could very well be that some of our estimates could be wrong. That the consolidation may not have happened to that extent. And I personally did think that the opposition had not reached a point where they could be very confident that they would form the government. This was in my own estimates. I did not see the
Yeah.
opposition had reached that level yet. But they had reached a level to bring BJP below the majority mark. That was my feeling. So we could,
Yeah. But what were your ground experiences like, sir? So you have so
my
many
ground
years of
experience.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I traveled this time very extensively, and my sense was that in the North Indian heartland, which is where BJP has swept the polls, there was a definite and sharp erosion of BJP vote share. And I see nothing of that kind here in Gujarat, in Madhya Pradesh, in Himachal, in Uttarakhand. The poll seems to say BJP will repeat its vote share of 2019. I find it impossible to believe. I traveled in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar quite extensively, felt that BJP vote is dropping. But in some of these estimates, it doesn't seem to be dropping. So I'm very, very surprised. And what pains me, and the reason why I wanted to speak on this, initially I did not, I just thought let exit polls have their day, is because a lot of political hawa is being made around the polls now. So exit polls are not just polls. If they were simply trying to estimate what the result would be, it's a harmless exercise. Anyone can do so. Anyone can get it right or wrong. But in the last 24 hours, BJP leaders have gone out of their way not only to publicize these polls, but Mr. Swapan Dasgupta says, if the results are as per these polls, no one then should raise questions about EVM because exit polls have nothing to do with EVM. Now, is someone trying to create a script already? What is really happening here? So I think that is something that worries me. I do
Yeah.
not know as yet if that is the case. But could it be that these exit polls are being used as a smokescreen to hide something, to hide something which may be sinister, which may not be quite the kind of thing we need? So that's what worries me. But
So
I
what
thought I
could
would
be
conclude
those?
at
Yeah,
that
that is
point.
why, because the exit polls also kind of, all these agencies, they kind of hang their necks on the line by making these predictions, and almost what could be the end game? What could be that smoke screen
I
to hide?
don't know. I
Yeah,
think
that's
it's too early to speculate. I would still believe, as a good Indian citizen, that the election results would truly reflect the way people have voted. Things that we saw with our own eyes would be reflected in the polls, and that exit polls would be only a small, minor distraction, which is
yeah.
perfectly all right. But
So
I just wanted to put that on record, the apprehension that this could be a command performance to conceal something else that may be going on. This is just a worry. The way BJP has advertised it makes me worry, makes me a little conscious of this. But at the moment, I would not say more than this. Let's wait for
all
the
right.
result. Let's hope that things
Okay.
go as per people's wishes.
So finally, before you go, sir, what do you still kind of anticipate, even after the exit polls, what you were initially projecting, that BJP may fall short of majority? And
I don't rule that out. I don't rule that out still, because, as I said, all the evidence that I have seen from multiple other sources does not contradict the possibility. I'm not saying I am right and exit polls have to be wrong. All that I'm saying is that evidence that we have seen so far does not
on the ground.
negate the possibility that I had put forward.
And what could be the probable figure of the India bloc, sir? Because India leaders also gave away a number, 295.
I know, but that's like Mr. Modi giving a number of 400 and so on. Every political leader is entitled to their numbers. I would not get into that because for me, the most important thing is BJP numbers. This election was about BJP numbers and the claim of 400 par. So let's see how far it goes.
Okay, so thank you for joining us. It was really nice speaking with you.
द वायर के और वीडियोस देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन पर क्लिक करें। स्वतंत्र पत्रकारिता की आर्थिक मदद करने के लिए डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए गए लिंक पर जाएं और अपनी राशि चुनें।